Vinny Tortorich here. Hey man, if you're a fan of Izzy, you might be a fan of me too. I'm the guy that gets people to lose a lot of weight. I have something free for you guys. This is no clickbait. Just go to VinnyTortorich.com and there's a big banner. It's a free PDF, how to lose weight. It's an intro guide to NSNG at VinnyTortorich.com. Go check it out exclusively for anyone who listens to Izzy Presley. Thank you.
Replay Guitar Exchange is your premier independent guitar store. Being independent is good. With all of the major brands, including new, vintage, and pre-owned, you can find the guitar, bass, amp, or accessory you are dreaming of. From vintage to the newest models, Replay Guitar Exchange can help you find that perfect piece. They have industry veteran expert staff, all players like you down to the owner. You aren't just getting a great guitar, you're getting the Replay difference. Find them online at replayguitar.com and find your dream guitar today.
Hey ladies, Sass Pants Designs will take that band shirt that everyone has and make it your own in a flattering, sassy, and simple way. There are one-of-a-kind tank tops, halter tops, lace-up tees, and tube-top dresses already in stock. Check out the online store at sasspantsrocks.com and like Sass Pants Designs on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for special offers and custom orders. Use the code IZZY25 for 25% off of your entire order at sasspantsrocks.com. That's sasspantsrocks.com. Let Sass Pants make you the envy of the party.
RockstarLeatherworks.com is your home for badass rock and roll gear. Featuring 100% handmade leather bands, watches, cuffs, bracelets, and more, Rockstar Leatherworks has something for everybody. Whether you are going to the show or you are in it, you can find something to fit your needs. Choose from a variety of designs or create your own masterpiece. Their bands and watches are second to none. They also ship internationally. Who needs a stage to be a rock star? Check out RockstarLeatherworks.com.
Hi, this is Bobby Brown, and welcome to another fucking podcast.
You kids with your loud music and your Dan Fogelberg, your Zima, hula hoops, and Pac-Man video games, don't you see? People today have attention spans that can only be measured in nanoseconds.
See, son, old legends never die. They just lose weight.
Like a legend and an out-of-work bum with a lot of life.
Hello, you crazy dead fucker!
Party time!
Yes, it is party time. Hello, Hollywood. Hello, world. And hello, my loyal minions. It is good to see you, and it's always good to be seen. My name is Izzy Presley, and this is another fucking podcast. Not coming to you live again because I have a pre-recorded interview with the great, the one and only Double Live Gonzo. That's right, the Motor City Madman, Uncle Ted, the Nuge, Ted Nugent is coming up in just a little bit. I did a full hour, 3 minutes and 29 seconds with Uncle Ted, and I'm going to play that in its entirety. We're going to get all the commercials done before we get into the Uncle Ted interview. But it's great. You guys will fucking love it. Great polarizing stuff with Ted. Talking about music. Yes. And coffee. And Elvis. And Van Halen. And Kiss. And Detroit. And a whole lot of stuff. It's an hour of Uncle Ted that you guys will absolutely love. Make sure you guys do hit up all of the social media at Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And of course, the Facebook page is Another Effin' Podcast. I only have 5 of the Monsters of Rock Cruise t-shirts left. That's right, the Izzy Presley Monsters of Rock Cruiser Jam shirts. There is only 5 left. So get on that link and buy one before they are gone, because there was only 50 made. There is only 5 left. And of course, the shop now link if you guys want any of the podcast t-shirts. And if you just want to donate, you don't want to buy shirts, you want to donate, you want to support, izzypresley@yahoo.com is the PayPal, or just share with your friends. I know you're going to want to share this episode because it is really, 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 really good. Ted Nugent fucking rules. That's just all there is to it. Oh my God. Did not get to go see Kiss last night. Very unfortunate, but it is what it is. I sold 4 shirts, and that was enough money to take the night off without going without or with a free ticket. And unfortunately, by the time I sold enough shirts, the ticket that I was offered was gone. I did not see another post about somebody that had another ticket, so I missed out. But it's all right. I went out, I worked for a little bit, but I had to get up at 6:45 because I had this interview with Ted at 7:30 in the morning, and we all know how goddamn early that is, especially for me, a guy who works nights. So it is what it is, but it ruled. I'll turn this up just a little bit. There we go. Much gooder. Much gooder. So yeah, there is all that. Big thanks to the people over at Mackie. Give Mackie a shout. If you guys want to get into podcasting, you want to get into home recording, check out Mackie.com. That's IE. Check out the studio bundles. I am currently running the Big Knob Studio Plus, and that comes with recording software, and it comes with headphones, microphones, studio monitors, all that stuff. And they got different studio bundles that are great. If you're just starting out with podcasting, you get one that just comes with one mic and the little studio, Big Knob Studio, or all the way up to mixing boards and all this stuff, and these very affordable studio bundles. If you want to get into podcasting, you want to get into home recording, hit them up, Mackie.com. That's Mackie, Mackie.com. Click on the studio bundles. Also, make sure you guys check out A&P Productions, A&P Laser engraving. These guys are so good. They can laser engrave a hot dog bun, do a lot of work engraving handguns and handcuffs and whatever you want to get laser engraved. These guys can take care of that. That is aplaser.com. And of course, our good friend John Palumbo over at John Palumbo Design. You have a band, you have a website, you have a business, you need a website done, you need a logo done. Hit up our good friend John Palumbo at John Palumbo Design. Got a lot of stuff coming up at the end of the month, leaving for another 2 weeks on the Cruise at the Edge, and of course the On the Blue Cruise, which is the former Moody Blues Cruise, basically the same types of bands. Gonna be excited. Oh my God, my liver's not, but I am very excited to be part of that again, hosting karaoke with my good friend DJ Beef Brian Ott. Oh, it's gonna be a blast. Cannot wait to see my Cruise family, even though I just saw them a few weeks ago. I love my Cruise family. Love it. I absolutely love it. And of course, you know me, I'll be following around Eddie Trunk at all times, saying, pick me, Ed, put me on the radio. And it might happen. You never know. Just have to listen to the great Eddie Trunk to find out. So here's what we're going to do. I know we're only 8 minutes into the show. I'm going to run the second set of commercials, and we will just roll the whole hour of Ted Nugent. It is another fucking podcast.
Rockwood Saloon Authentic Apparel takes rock and roll fashion to a new level with their tees and tanks for men and women. They also make custom shirts, jackets, vests, pants, hoodies, beanies, and more. The Rockwood Graphics Department can design anything from your logo, t-shirt design, promo posters, band swag, and printed at great prices. From tour shirts and custom stage gear to killer threads for the street to the stage, Rockwood Saloon has it all. Rockwood Saloon, authentic rock and roll apparel for stage and street. World Tour tested for quality, comfort, style, and durability. Check them out at www.rockwoodsaloon.com. That's rockwoodsaloon.com.
Retro Arcade brings Minnesota and surrounding areas arcade games from the days gone by. All of those great games from pizza joints and arcades are available in cocktail units and custom machines. Dozens of favorites from your youth in one machine to complete your game room or man cave. Retro Arcade also sells and services your favorite pinball machines. Find them at facebook.com/80arcade. That's facebook.com/80arcade. Retro Arcade. Your youth is just one click away.
If you need to promote your band or business, or just want to stylize, personalize, or customize your ride, check out vid-decals.com. Want to create and customize your own stickers representing your band or make your own bumper sticker? Vid Decals can do it. All stickers are printed on quality vinyl and can be placed on any flat surface. Stickers are an affordable way to promote your band or business. Go to vid-decals.com to get started. That's vid-decals.com. vid-decals.com.
Hi, this is Al Pacino. You're listening to a man who can hold his head up in all 5 boroughs. That's my man, Izzy Presley. Another fucking podcast. Hoo-ah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. He's one of the most rock and roll motherfuckers this world has ever seen. Please welcome to another fucking podcast, the Uncle Ted himself, the Nuge, Mr. Ted Nugent. How are you this morning?
Izzy, happy 2020. I'm having such a good time I can hardly stand myself. If I was having any more fun, I'd squirt through the phone and stain your ass.
Well, don't spill my coffee, please. Speaking of coffee, before we get into everything, you've got coffee now. Tell us about the coffee.
Izzy, take a moment, just to give just a hint of silence, and try to grasp and try to immerse yourself. Do the swan dive, do a jackknife, do the dog paddle, do the breaststroke up the whitewater flaming rapids that is Ted Nugent, surrounding myself with nothing but mad scientists. Everybody in my life is like Bruce Lee of their given and chosen endeavor. My band, I'm going to answer the coffee question this way. Jason Hartless, my drummer, Samurai. Greg Smith, my bass player, Samurai. The guys that build my bows at Matthews, mad scientist, engineering, Samurai. So now let's get to Nuge Java. I never drank coffee till I was in my 40s. My life, in many, many positive, outrageous moments, can be summed up in the woods with my family. Yes. I was raised in a hunting family, and there was equal to, well, probably more powerful than Christmas morning, was opening morning of deer season, October 1st with the bow and arrow, November 15th with the gun. And the family would get together, a little log cabin, we have a little fireplace going, I'd have to gather wood, we go down the stream, get the water, big old skillet full of heavy bacon, and coffee would always percolate. My mom and dad drank coffee, and as I grew up, all the hunting camps had coffee, and it smells so damn good. And I suppose, since you're having such a great time, the olfactory stimuli of the bacon and the coffee and probably the dirty socks and the nasty wet wool clothing, but there's something about the atmosphere that is magnified by the aroma. So I never drank coffee, so eventually I tried coffee, and it was bitter and I didn't like it. But over the years, I'd talk about the effervescence of the bacon and the coffee at deer camp. And to some people listening to us right now, Izzy is probably going, oh, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Well, unless you've been there, you have no idea how stimulating and exciting it is. So, long story short, people heard me talking about the aroma of my sacred deer camps, and a guy got a hold of me many years ago and said, Ted, I make the greatest coffee in the world. I have to wait for the right barometric pressure, and I have to have perfect humidity before I pick the beans and before I ground the beans, before I roast the beans. I'm like a mad scientist of Java. So I said, all right, send me a bag. Well, he sent me a bag, and he's a nut. He was a Kona coffee maniac, and it was like candy. It was so delicious. I put a slug of real heavy cream, none of this fake 2%.
Same here.
The only thing I like fat-free are my hunting dogs and my women. Everything else I want fat. So I had this mad scientist. Is this a great answer to a simple question?
It's fucking beautiful. That's why I love you.
But if I'm going to have a coffee with my name on it, it's going to be created by a mad scientist who probably bathes in beans. So yes, right now I got a thermos with my little spear throwing stick man, my spirit blood brother, emblazoned on it, and I'm sucking down Nuge Java right now. But my energy and attitude and piss and vinegar does not come from the Nuge Java. I actually cause caffeine to explode when I get downwind of a bag of coffee beans. I've been out in the woods this morning. I already cut down some dead trees that fell on my fence, and I already cut them up with the chainsaw. I already split them with the maul. I already stacked them in my rocksar. I already drove them to the house, and I stacked a big old pile of split logs. So this is the way I live, and at the tender age of 71 I'm cocked, locked, ready to rock the clock, doc, non-stop boogie-woogie chillin'. So the Nuge Java actually calms me down.
That is funny. I was making the joke, 'cause I'm a night owl. I usually work overnights, and so I'm usually sleeping by this point and getting up by 1 o'clock for Days of Our Lives because I have priorities.
But I woke you up, right?
You did, of course, and it's all good because it's fucking Ted Nugent. I made the jokes like I'm gonna need about 5 cups of coffee and 3 8-balls just to keep up with Uncle Ted at fucking 7:30 in the morning.
Well, you love the music like I love the music,
absolutely.
and I just when I take a good healthy shit, I actually squiggle my butt just before the end so my pile looks like a Dairy Queen girl. So I don't do anything normal. I don't do anything status quo. In fact, every night I get out my buck hunting knife and I have to scrape the skull tissue of all things status quo out of the cleats of my work boots. So that's why you love me, and that's why I love you, because we love crushing all things status quo. It's not the road less traveled. It's no road untraveled. You're Lewis, I'm Clark, and I'll share Sacagawea with you.
I fucking love it. You said you're 71. You were born in 48, right on the brink of 49, and I love having conversations with people of your age, and that's not making you sound old. It's just because I love having these conversations. Lemmy had always made the point where I remember before there was rock and roll. I've had Billy Vera on the show, and if you don't know Billy's history, I know you're a music historian, check out his book. Billy Vera's history is unfucking believable. And,
sure. And all those guys will all tell you the same inspiration. It was Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley, Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, all emulating and exuding all things black musical authority from Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters. And then you saw Elvis and the Stones on the Ed Sullivan Show, and it was over, Rover.
Right, and I wanted to get into Elvis because I've never really heard you talk about Elvis. Were you an Elvis guy? And as a guitar player, were you a Scotty Moore guy?
Yes, and yes, absolutely. You know what? And I feel a little guilty because I always celebrate the founding fathers: Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley, Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, and I fail, and I apologize for failing. Because was Elvis fucking Presley a force of nature or what?
Oh, my God.
I mean, talking about founding fathers, talking about the non-road untraveled, that guy's every footsteps went where no man had ever gone before, not just musically, but culturally. And I mean, just pop culture and the whole thing. So yes, Chuck Berry really took Les Paul's invention in Bo Diddley and they perfected. But Scotty Moore, what he did on the Elvis Presley music in more of a gospel-tinged, almost, I hate to say it, country-tinged rockabilly.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, what he did, uncharted territories, man. And there's not a guitar player under the sun, even if they're young guys in their 50s, even if they're younger than I am, which is everybody. Right. Whether they know it or not, if your first inspiration was Eddie Van Halen, or if your first inspiration was Stevie Ray Vaughan, they're playing Scotty Moore stuff. They're playing Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley stuff. They're playing Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters and Lightnin' Hopkins stuff. They're playing Dwayne Addy and Lonnie Mack. They're playing Ventures. That's where it all started. That was uncharted. I played a 1965 Gibson Birdland this morning. I just got from a great guy in North Dakota. It's pristine, Izzy. It's like it just came off the Kalamazoo, Michigan assembly line by the God-gifted mad scientists of Woods Craftsman luthier guitar creation in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I played it this morning, and even though I played licks that God hasn't authorized yet, I'm playing stuff that Yusef Lateef and John Coltrane would blow me if I could teach them to them. And I'm making these licks, but in between all this hyper inventive, outrageous sonic bombast, you can't grab a guitar neck and not hit a Chuck Berry lick. Virtually impossible. So all hail the founding fathers. But yes, Elvis, he coalesced all those genres and created his own. I played Jailhouse Rock with ZZ Top nearby here a couple of years back. Well, last year. And I got up on stage with a little custom amp, just a little 35-watt, 12-inch speaker next to Billy's stack of Magnatone, unbelievable Magnatone amps. He invited me up on stage to play Jailhouse Rock, and I just plugged that Gibson Birdland into that amp. I didn't know what was going to happen. It sounded just like me. It was huge. It was, you could have, if a herd of cattle would have stampeded downwind of my amp that night, we'd have had barbecue for thousands of people before their hooves left the ground. And Billy turned around and looked at it. We're playing. I hadn't played Jailhouse Rock, I don't know, in 50 years, 60 years, and it was, Izzy, it was perfect. It was a monster. So that stuff that was created by the founding fathers of music came from black authority that white guys like Elvis Presley and me and Billy Joel, we still genuflect at the altar of those guys. And here it is 2020, and I've never had more fun with music in my life.
That's fucking beautiful. Watch this segue. This half of the show brought to you by Beater Amplification, ladies and gentlemen. Ted, you would love these. They come out of Mankato, Minnesota, my home state. Hand-wired, hand-built, 100 watts of testicular fortitude. Oh my God, they're tubes, and it's got 3 channels, and that fucking Birdland would scream through this motherfucker.
Well, you're talking mad scientists. These guys live and breathe sound and tone and textures and vocalizations. God bless those guys, man.
Beautiful. We have, 10, 15, 20 minutes? How much time do we got there, Ted? I'm
all yours, Izzy.
All right.
Try to wear me out. Remember when I got on with Joe Rogan, we created the world record podcast because 3.5 hours later he said, Uncle.
I fucking love it. I just don't want to run out of time with you with stuff I want to talk about. And it's still,
go nuts, man. I'm here in Texas. I'm actually, you know what I'm doing today? This is why I love my life. This is why you wish you had my life. You know what I'm doing today?
What are you doing,
I'm
Ted?
testing with I can't tell you all the people, but factions of the U.S. military, factions of government agencies that don't really exist, a number of SWAT teams, and I'm testing new body armor. And they're coming to my ranch in Texas because I have submachine guns, I have real machine guns, I have howitzers, I have all kinds of ballistic mad scientist projectile management perfection, and we're going to test these new body armor for the heroes of the military and law enforcement and first responders. And I get to shoot my machine guns, and here's the beauty of it. Shooting machine guns is awesome anyway, and I guarantee it's going to inspire some killer guitar licks. But the ultimate... here's another mad scientist moment. I'm not just shooting machine guns, which is always the perfect joy, but making it even more perfect, I'm shooting taxpayer ammo.
That is fucking beautiful. Oh, my God. That is beautiful. That is beautiful, Ted. Oh.
It is beautiful. They hired me because when we put the body armor on the dummies, you got to hit a certain spot on the body armor to prove that it will stop certain ballistics, certain rounds. And they know that I'm Sniper Boy. I'm the mad scientist, samurai, Bruce Lee, guitar strangling sniper.
You know, I don't even know how to segue off that back into fucking rock and roll. But as
that is rock and roll.
Yes, it is. This is absolutely true.
Every rock and roller on the planet wishes they could shoot machine guns every day.
Oh my God, we go from Beater Amplification, BeaterAmplification.com, that's 2 E's, into fucking body armor and shooting taxpayer ammo. It's just, this is why fucking Ted Nugent rules. You know, being a Midwestern kid and I sometimes think that the Midwest, and especially Detroit, doesn't get their fair share as it comes to the history of rock and roll. Because, like, look, you look at Detroit, everybody automatically thinks of Motown, which is amazing, which is fucking awesome. But I think sometimes it gets buried in there. Not only yourself, Alice Cooper, Iggy Pop, fucking Bob Seger's Grand Funk
Railroad, Brownsville Station,
right?
Bob Seger, SRC, even the Rationals. I mean, the Amboy Dukes, San Francisco and Philadelphia. Not even close. They didn't have an MC5. They didn't have an Amboy Dukes. They didn't have a Grand Funk Railroad. They didn't have Dick Wagner and the Frost. They didn't have the SRC, the Scott Richardson case, and nobody on the planet Earth can even hold a candle. God bless Stax Volt. God bless all that Philadelphia soul. But Izzy?
Yes, sir.
The Funk Brothers. The Funk Brothers, nothing since the dawn of mankind comes close to the emotion and musical authority and musical prowess and mad scientist capabilities of the mighty Funk Brothers. So, yeah, I think you're right. The world owes Detroit for creating high-energy, absolute, skull-crushing rock and roll and the grooviness. You know, even James Brown, the god of thunder, they all genuflect at the altar of the Funk Brothers. So I was, I was there, man.
Of course you were.
I was in the vortex of the funk. I stood on stage at Cobo Hall. My band, the Lords, won the Battle of the Bands in 1963. What was I, 14, 15? I stood on stage at Cobo Hall. That was our prize for winning the Michigan Battle of the Bands. We kicked everybody's ass. It wasn't even close.
Of course.
We played on Shake a Tail Feather and Little Latin Loop-de-Loo and high heel sneakers, which was it caused neutered cattle to breed. Anyhow, I'm on stage at Cobo Hall opening up for the Supremes.
Oh, wow.
And the Beau Brummels. And guess who was right next to me? The Motown Orchestra. This is a spiritual moment. And right next to me, the mighty Funk Brothers.
Oh, wow.
I could smell their soulfulness. It taught me more watching those guys just do a sound check. Izzy, I've been to the mountaintop. That's why I'm like this. That's why I'm so alive. What musical moment could anyone dream of? I played bass for Chuck Berry, Izzy.
Oh, wow.
I played bass for Bo Diddley, Izzy.
Nice.
I jammed with the greatest artists in the world, and I stood next to the Funk Brothers and the Motown Orchestra. I'm the luckiest son of a bitch that has ever jacked off on a Gibson guitar, man.
Do you have a good Chuck Berry story? A lot of people have a good Chuck Berry story.
Every Chuck Berry story is great. All you have to do is watch Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll, where Keith Richards tried to pay genuine reverence and love for the man, and watch Chuck mistreat him. Chuck Berry was the greatest gentleman in the world. Here we go to a mad scientist moment again. And when I say mad scientist, I mean possessed by your given endeavor. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When you and I do interviews, we're mad scientists of interviews because we care, we dig, we want to know, we want to explore, right?
Exactly.
But Chuck Berry was the kindest, the most intelligent, articulate gentleman you could ever meet, and he was also the biggest prick that ever lived. Maybe that's what'll be on my gravestone. I don't know.
There you go.
All you have to do is watch Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll, and all Keith Richards wanted to do was show the world that Chuck Berry invented the soundtrack to our lives. If it wasn't for Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley and Little Richard, there would be no Stones or Beatles or Kinks or Who or Led Zeppelin or Aerosmith or ZZ Top or Billy Joel or Ted Nugent or Montrose or Cheap Trick, or there'd be nothing.
Right.
And Keith Richards just wanted to show love for the man, and Chuck was mean to him.
Fucking Chuck. Actually, another band that... they weren't a Detroit band, but Detroit fucking broke them, was Kiss. What are your first Kiss memories?
Well, and again, I opened up for Kiss as early as I'm going to guess. When did they start? 74?
74, yeah, 74.
Yeah, I opened up for Kiss. We were still Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes. It was the last year that I had the Amboy Dukes name. And I'm a music guy, but I also love the James Brown, showmanship. Mm-hmm. And obviously Little Richard showmanship, Chuck Berry showmanship, and certainly all the greatest dancers, the Temptations, the Four Tops. I'm a big fan of showmanship. I mean, what's the guy that sang "You Put a Spell on Me"?
Shit!
That came out of a casket. and Alice Cooper and all that showmanship.
Yeah.
And I rode buffaloes and swang on ropes wearing a loincloth with my balls flying through the air. So I'm a big fan of music, number one, but showmanship to maximize the delivery of the music. Well, all that goes right back to Detroit. I mean, what Kiss did, it was like they played really good. They weren't the musical caliber that I was used to in Detroit. Mm-hmm. If you could have seen Dick Wagner and the Frost, or the Grand Funk Railroad, these guys, the MC5, Brownsville Station. I mean, the Amboy Dukes. We're talking mad scientists of musician dedication. All those bands in Detroit, no matter how high energy and outrageous we were, boy, we were driven by the music. My last album was called "The Music Made Me Do It." That would apply to the MC5. I don't think it applied to the Stooges so much. I wasn't a big fan. They didn't play tight. They didn't really play groove in music. They played outrageous stuff, but if you wanted to see outrageous where the music was authoritative, I give you Grand Funk and MC5 and Dick Wagner and the Frost and the Rationals and the SRC. God almighty, what great bands. But when Kiss came along, the outrage factor was so incredible that I immediately knew that this was going to be a monster. So I've always been a fan, number one, of their work ethic. They've always been gentlemen. There's certain members with the substance abuse was a tragedy, and I always tried to help, but people can, if they want to get off of suicidal substance abuse, they have to make that choice themselves. But I've always been a big fan of their professionalism, certainly the songwriting and their performances. They've never done a bad concert. Those guys approach it like all the greatest bands, like Sammy Hagar and Aerosmith and ZZ and certainly Ted Nugent. Every band, we think every concert is the most important concert of our lives. Every gig is the most important gig. Every song is the most important performance. And so Kiss exuded that because they were out to become monster successful rock stars, and God bless them for that.
I was just kind of curious about the showmanship side of it. It's like, did that showmanship have an influence on you wanting to say, fuck it, I'm going to swing on a rope and wear a loincloth?
Yeah, that's a little bit different than just hiring a pyrotechnician.
Yeah, right?
all my showmanship was like organic. It was actually how I really lived. All you have to do, and everybody who loves music, and I know we're celebrating, and the listeners right now love music.
Absolutely.
But you have no idea the depth of our love for music till you watch James Brown on the Tammy Show. I think it was 67, some 64, 65 maybe. The Tammy Show, Tammi.
Okay.
Some teenage thing. Watch James Brown. Find every Google video you can of James Brown, especially in the early days when he was skinny and powerhousing, and that musical work ethic, the tightness of his band, that inspired I think that inspired the Aerosmiths and the ZZs and the Stones and the Beatles and the Kinks and the Who, and certainly me and the Amboy Dukes. And I know the MC5 were inspired more by James Brown than anybody else. Wayne Kramer is still a dear friend of mine, and we've come from the exact same nucleus of the Capitol School of Music with Joe Podorczyk as our guitar teacher and the inspiration. We were already rocking our balls off in Detroit, and the MC5 and Wayne Kramer and the guys, they were dedicated to the music, Izzy. They practiced like maniacs before the drugs destroyed them. The Amboy Dukes practiced like maniacs. The Brownsville Station and Grand Funk Railroad, we practiced and practiced and practiced. So when you play music that is, it's you. It's not part of you. It is you. You're going to dance like an animal because you're practiced, and the groove is so tight, you can't stand there with that groove going on. So you watch James Brown maximize the groove in a visual presentation, and it's contagious. And that, I think, Kiss took it to the most outrageous level of all. But the reason they celebrate Detroit is what every band will tell you, every band that's honest, that if you can ignite a Detroit audience, you got it. If you don't ignite a Detroit audience, you ain't got it. Everybody knows that, and I've heard interviews from Mick Jagger, from Paul McCartney, from every artist. I think Billy Joel has said it. Metallica has said it. Certainly Sammy Hagar has said it. I mean, Arthur Brown and so many bands that were not successful elsewhere would come to Detroit all the time. The Jeff Beck group and Fleetwood Mac, when they were playing real rock and roll, Green Monalishi with a three-pronged crown. Get the hell out of here.
Right.
When Led Zeppelin came to America, they played the Grande Ballroom to test the waters, because that was the vetting of whether you got the shit or not. So I love Detroit. I'm so glad I was born in the arsenal of democracy. The music influence, Izzy, it was inescapable. It was life itself, man.
Well, you need something to just distract yourself from the fact that you have the Detroit Lions.
You're also talking to a guy who's never watched a sporting event in my life.
Really? You know, funny. Ted, that's funny because on your Wikipedia it says you're a huge Red Wings, Pistons, and Tigers fan, which is...
Well, I imagine Wikipedia has all kinds of honest and really accurate information about me. How about this? Hey, Wikipedia, fuck you.
Oh,
hey,
God.
Salon.com, eat shit and die. Hey, Huffington Post, fuck you. Hey, MSNBC, hey, media, eat shit and die. They don't get anything right about me. My sons are mad scientist, samurai, Bruce Lee athletes. My grandson Jack is the golf champion of Michigan at 18. My son Jack just made his 1,000th basketball point and just got an award at 18. My son Toby, my son Rocco, my son Fleetwood, get them on the basketball court, and I kid you not, they will kick everybody's ass. They were able to play against John Sally and some of the Detroit Pistons when they were winning all the championships. My sons can keep up with these guys. Now, I can't because I can shoot a ball pretty good because I got hand-eye coordination.
Right.
But I've always been so possessed by the music, outrage, and it's possessed by the mystical flight of the arrow, which is the quintessential disciplined samurai of archery. I've always been an archery, bow hunting, addict all my life. So when everybody else is watching sports, I'm in the woods with my bow and arrow trying to get dinner.
And that's a fucking delicious dinner. Like I said, I grew up in Minnesota.
Oh, man. You talk organic. I'm your dinner on the hoof daddy.
You know, I was going to ask you about this, Ted. Like, Paul Newman's got his line of, like, salad dressing and salsas and all that kind of stuff where all the proceeds go to a charity. Have you thought about doing, like, a line of, like, marinades and stuff like that and giving all the proceeds to, like, a hunting charity or a kid's charity or something like that?
You know, we have a Ted Nugent Camp for Kids. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, 100% volunteer charity for 30 years where we teach kids that the American dream is only optimized if you're clean and sober, and that if you become the mystical flight of the arrow, you and you alone can make smart, intelligent, responsible choices for the greatest life God has ever given you. That's the Ted Nugent Camp for Kids, and that charity has been so successful for 30 years, graduating all these kids, and we donate all kinds of money, Shikar Safaris, and all these great, generous people. But I donate, literally, Izzy, every day of my life is an assembly line. I'm not exaggerating. Right now, my ranch manager, Bob, has got a big, long set of tables in my shop, and they're stacked with bows and arrows and guns and 8x10 photos and Ted Nugent paraphernalia and bleached deer skulls that I autograph. I have an assembly line of autographed items every day of my life to go to children's charities, military charities, law enforcement charities, conservation charities. But to answer your question, literally my samurai manager, Doug Banker, is already in final negotiations. We're coming out with a Ted Nugent jerky.
There you go.
Protein from the gods. I kill it, I grill it, I chill it, and I shill it. So, yeah, we're going to have some Ted Nugent jerky coming out. And, yes, those, you know, I don't get paychecks. I don't remember getting a paycheck since the Amboy Dukes, and that was like, you know, $50 a week. I don't get paychecks. All my earnings go into this account, and I just take care of life. I donate to charities. I help the military and law enforcement. If I need new pants, I call the guy that makes pants. He makes pants. If I need ammo, I call my ammo guy. Send me some ammo. My whole life, and Shemaine and I's whole life, I mean, I'm 71. I'll be 72 this year. Shemaine, God, can we have a moment can we have a moment of silence for Mrs. Nugent? What in God's name have I done to deserve the sexiest? She's right now, she literally dropped her pants she dropped her pants and mooned me. She just walked in the room after working out, right next to the roses that I gave her, which I think inspired the moon I just got.
Possibly.
But my wife she's 57. Stop it. Stop it. Put that away. I'm not kidding you. She is a mean woman.
Oh.
Anyhow, you know, I'm waxing poetic, and I can tell you from what I just saw, she waxed poetic this moment. Anyhow, Izzy, Shemaine and I, she could kick ass on any cheerleader, anywhere, anytime, and God bless, thank you, Lord. Anyhow, our lives, you know, we're old. I still rock my balls off. I'm going to have the greatest Ted Nugent 2020 motherfucking tour of my life, Garen motherfucking Teed, with Jason Hartless on drums and Greg Smith on bass and Doug and Lyndon, the greatest crew, the most dedicated samurai rock and roll crew in the world. Bobby Kwan, I think he is the Wizard of Oz, but the real McCoy. I'm going to have the greatest tour of my life, but basically, we just do what we do, and then we work with all these wonderful charities, like all these great Americans, all these entrepreneurs and working hard, playing hard shit kickers who get up early and bust their ass and make sacrifices and work themselves to the bone. And when an American or someone around the world needs help, great Americans give and give and give, and I salute all of you who do that. You are the heart and soul of God's miracle of humanity. What a great nation we live in, huh?
I cannot disagree 100% more. It's like this: the United States of America is the best fucking place in the world. That's just
the whole world sucks. The whole world sucks. America still sucks less, and with Donald Trump at the helm, we suck less every day.
I couldn't agree more. Speaking of not the straight and narrow and rock and roll motherfuckers, do you have any good Lemmy stories?
You know, yes. God bless the guy. I wish I could have got closer to Lemmy, and and Jimmy. I got to meet Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan and John Belushi and Bon Scott and Keith Moon and so many superhumans. I wish I could have got closer to Lemmy because he what a great fucking guy.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know why he fell for the bullshit of partying includes getting stupid and drunk and drooling and puking and dying. Drugs and alcohol, that's not a party. It's just stupid. You're not as good. You're not as good after the drink as you were before the drink. You're not as good after the dope as you were before the dope. Mm-hmm. And he created such a powerhouse of outrageous, unbridled rock and roll that the only Lemmy stories I have is we did some European and Scandinavian festivals together. And I'm afraid, and I admire his work ethic, and I'm just from afar. I wasn't in his inner circle, so right. I got to attribute his nonstop work to a work ethic. But I just wish he wouldn't have poisoned himself like he did, and died prematurely. And and a lot of people hate me because I'm against substance abuse. I mean, literally, they think I'm an asshole because I'm against dope. Mm-hmm. The only people on dope don't know how dopey they are. So I've been clean and sober for 71 years, and I'm telling you right now, people can hate me all they want, but you're nowhere near as happy, you're nowhere near as beneficial and an asset to your family and friends and bandmates than when you're clean and sober. You're always better. You're more conscientious. You're smarter. You're more fun to be around. You smell better. You don't puke and drool and stumble as much. And you don't die unnecessarily when you're clean and sober. There's a clusterfuck around every corner anyhow, Izzy. Why reduce your level of awareness so you're more prone to clusterfuck? Ian, are you with me?
I hear you, Ted. I hear you. I mean, I'm one of these guys that likes to kick back with a shot of Jack here and there, but it's not
my brothers, my sons and daughters, my sister, they have a beer. I had a glass of wine last night with Mrs. Nugent. The emphasis is on a glass of wine, like one. A glass of wine. We had some great venison backstraps last night. I killed so many deer this year. I donated over a ton of pure, natural, healthy, nutritious, delicious, organic venison to soup kitchens and homeless shelters. And that's another reason people hate me. So you hate me because I take God's annual renewable protein and I donate it to homeless shelters? You hate me because I kill deer and feed needy Americans? Huh?
Right.
How much LSD do you have to eat to be that stupid? So here's one for the animal rights people out there. Just because you're so fucking stupid, I'm going to kill extra deer just for you this year. Fuck you. How fucking stupid do you have to be? Maybe you'd like your Aunt Edna to go through the windshield of her Buick hitting a deer where they're not allowed to harvest them responsibly. Right. Deer hunting is perfect. Air, soil, and water quality come from wildlife habitat. So all I want out of everybody is thank you, American hunters, fishermen, and trappers, because we pay for the value of renewable wildlife so that there's wildlife habitat, which is the only source for clean air, soil, and water. If you don't get that, call 1-800-NUMBNUT and listen to Michael Moore mumble that hygiene is superfluous.
Oh, God. Well, look, I'm a Minnesota kid, so I'm with you 100% on that. But before we get in the tour, you were on Trunk a couple days ago, and you told this great story about Eddie Van Halen. But I want to know, what does a Ted Nugent, David Lee Roth conversation sound like?
Oh, my God, have I had fun. I mean, my fun meter, it isn't pegged. It's spinning eternally. It just never stops spinning. What a great guy David Lee Roth was. What a great bunch of guys, Michael Anthony and Eddie and Alex. I mean, Izzy, I'm sitting here clean and sober for 71 years, but I am absolutely drunk, stoned, intoxicated, inebriated, blathered, out of my mind on fun.
Yep.
When we got backstage with the Van Halen's first U.S. tour outside of Pasadena,
Yep.
was opening up for me.
Yeah.
And they were motherfuckers. They were, and again, it's the music. Yeah,
Yep.
David Lee Roth had what's the guy from, I can't think of his name, Jim, I can't remember their name. Anyhow, he was a showman par excellence.
Yeah.
But it was the music, Eddie and Alex and Michael, are you kidding me? But when we get backstage, I'm afraid David was already imbibing a little excessively. But I'm fun around anybody. If you're not having fun with me, you are fucked
Right,
up.
right.
If you're not having fun with Ted Nugent, you got some serious psychological dilemma going on.
Yep.
And David and Michael and Anthony and Alex and I, we had a riot, but they were already falling for the bullshit that you had to get stupid to be a rock and roll star. What a shame. Because what a talented bunch of guys.
Yeah.
And they still are. But the peak of their capabilities were before the drugs and the alcohol and I guess tobacco. With some of them are stupid enough to. How stupid do you have to be to buy tobacco?
Well,
I don't get it. So the stories are that we had fun. And there was a lot of laughter, and I think on my Facebook there's some pictures of us back in 77, 78 together, 79, 80 at some of the festivals. They were great. They were fun guys, really nice guys. But we had a lot of laughter. But at some point, when you're drunk and stoned, there's no real meaningful communication. So at some point, when the little puddles of spittle start to form in the corner of your mouth, I'm going to probably leave the room.
Right.
I don't want to be around people who have lost control.
Right.
And so there were great moments where we were still, cognizant I'm always cognizant of my surroundings.
Right.
I am my surroundings. But when you get to be really stupid and stumbling, I vacate the premises. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. And then before we go here, obviously this is why why we're doing this. Most importantly, is because you got your fucking tour starting in July, the best fucking tour ever, 2020.
Absolutely.
Is it in this day and age, because everybody's constantly on the road? I mean, they just announced another set of shows or touring this summer. How hard is it now to go out and do these summer tours?
It would be hard not to.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
I love the fucking music. Okay, you know when you hear the opening riff of Stranglehold, you turn that motherfucker up,
of course.
don't you?
Absolutely.
Can you imagine having a Birdland slung around your neck with this wall of custom Magnatone amps behind you, with Jason Hartless breathing fire on a drum set, and Greg Smith literally creating spiritual erections on the bass? Can you imagine what goes through my pathetic brain when I am about to hit those strings and create the greatest guitar lick in the history of noise? I use the term mad scientist. Greg and Jason and I, and my crew, they're mad scientists. We force and demand of ourselves the perfect sound, the perfect drum tones, the perfect bass sound, the perfect guitar tone. Oh, my guitar tone. Oh, my God, if I could blow myself, I'd blow myself right now. My guitar tone is so perfect, like Lonnie Mack and Dwayne Eddy and Keith Richards and Eddie Van Halen and Brian May and Billy Gibbons, they would like to suck my guitar's dick. My Gibson Birdland through these Magnatone amps. How could I not go on? How could I not play these songs?
Right,
so
right.
To your point, yes, I'm old. I'm not quite crippled yet. I do have new knees.
I didn't suggest
and
that at all.
I'm nowhere near immobilized. I mean, I covered ground this morning that teenagers wish they could keep up with my fucking paper trail. But I think we've always agreed, Izzy, that the greatest philosopher that ever lived was Dirty Harry. Mm-hmm. When he said, a good man needs to know his limitations.
Right.
I will admit that I have to watch myself because the music drives me fucking berserk. But I'm not capable of the athleticism of 10 or 20 years ago. I could really, really hurt myself with my new knees.
Right.
I still bebop and I groove. You can't not. When you're playing my songs, when you're playing Queen of the Forest or Free for All or Great White Motherfucking Buffalo, when you're playing these songs, you're going to dance. You're going to gyrate. You're going to stampede. But I do know my limitations, and I'm going to admit, even though I discipline myself to take care of myself on stage and not let the music kill me because it's so fucking powerful, when I get off stage, I'm not just sweaty and tired. I hurt.
Oh, I bet.
It fucking hurts. Which is why I've gone from 350 to 300 to 250 to 200. I did 200 concerts a year with the damn Yankees in the 90s.
I saw those shows.
Phenomenal band. Oh, what a great bunch of guys. Tommy and Michael and Jack, Gods of Thunder. Anyhow, so yes, we're going out for 6 weeks. But even today, Izzy, I think it's gravity defying. I think it's samurai. We play 6 nights a week most of the time. I'm the only artist in the history of the world that would dare do it 6 nights in a row. I used to do it. I think my record is 37 gigs in a row with no days off. But those were in my youth. And those days are over. So a good man knows his limitations. But we play, every gig is a firestorm. Greg and Jason, they throttle my music. Izzy, if I wasn't in this band, I'd go see them every night just to watch Greg and Jason.
That's amazing.
They're motherfuckers. So, yeah, we're going out. This is titled Ted Nugent 2020, the best motherfucking shit-kicker rock and roll tour of my life, and I guarantee it's going to be. And the energy level will be out of control. The rehearsals, what the fuck? We play together every time we start one of my monster songs, and every one of my songs is a monster.
Right.
Every opening lick is a fucking monster. It's almost like every time we start a song, it's our first piece of ass. We're 16 and we're getting laid for the first time. I'm a lucky guy, man. This tour. It has a life of its own, and so we do 6 weeks, and I try not to kill myself, but I promise the ticket buyers, I will throttle your ass, I will turn your skull into talcum powder every gig, every concert, every night, every song, because the music makes us do it.
You know, Ted, I did want to ask you this. When I saw you in the 90s, I mean, you were still a 4-piece then, and it, other than Motorhead, might have been one of the loudest fucking shows I've ever heard in my life in a ballroom. Are you still playing at those fucking loud levels? No,
absolutely not. By the way, the only reason I'm able to hear your questions is because I have a miracle ear hearing aid in my right ear.
There you go.
I swear to God, I'm not being silly.
No.
I've shot, guns all my life, and we didn't wear hearing protection.
Right.
I think I've shot more fucking rounds than an A-10 Warthog in Fallujah. All my military guys know what I'm talking about.
Right.
I shoot all the time. I find that marksmanship and firearms control is a samurai focus. And I compete, and I'm a sworn sheriff deputy. I've done raids with the federal marshal, the U.S. Marshals. So it's not just a discipline. It's not just fun to shoot.
Right.
It can be life and death. So when I go to the range, I shoot. And starting around 1973, 74, I started wearing hearing protection. It was a little behind the curve. And thank God, here's a great rock and roll story. I experimented with so much volume in the early 60s back in Detroit that it hurt. My guitars, I was letting them feed back and discovering how to control or manipulate the feedback, but I would get frequencies that it would cause dogs to run away miles. And it hurt. So all the guys in my band, my first band, the Loincloths, they all smoked. They all had cigarettes. So I would take filters from some of their filtered cigarettes, and I'd stuff them in my right ear, which was closest to the amplifiers, as I was experimenting with just dangerous dBs. I mean, outrageous, dangerous decibels. So somehow I got a moment of smartness where I protected my right ear closest to the amps, but my left ear, it's so damaged that but with this Ted Kornblum, the grandson, I think the great-grandson of custom amplifiers, between the Fender amps and the custom amps and the PV amps and now these custom Magnetone amps, they deliver such a richness, such a panorama of vocalizations and frequencies that I can get all the feedback and outrage and skull pummeling I want. Izzy, 5% of my old volume. I used to have 8 fucking twin reverbs through 8 dual Showman bottoms, all floored. That's over 1,600 watts. And I had them in a convex position where I'd get in the middle and just pretty much dust my skull every night. But my tone and the sound, it's loud out front because we have Frank Maniac Krautboy on the PA, the greatest PA man in the world. And our PA systems are so incredible. They're so loud and they're so rich and big and fat and greasy that the volume at the concert is still... I bet there are nights we're louder than we used to because the PAs are so much better and we like it loud. Right. But my stage volume, I actually have a plexiglass shield. You see a lot of artists do this. Yeah. A plexiglass shield around Jason Hartless drums because he's such a loud, banging motherfucker. It's too loud because I don't wear hearing protection on stage because then it reduces those beautiful sounds. Right. It reduces those frequencies that I love so much. So we have a volume on stage that is not damaging, but it delivers everything that the old days did and more. So it's loud out front, but on stage it's a safe area so that I don't, blow my brains completely out.
It's funny. So I'm assuming you're not an in-ear monitor guy, which I am not either. I'm more just give me the fucking monitors and. Yeah, no, I
like the ambience, man. I don't use it. I tried it once, and it's like I was isolated. And believe me, of all the ticket buyers at my concerts, I'm the biggest fan of my music that's there. I love my music. I want to hear that shit. Right. So I have the best monitor guy. I have the best PA guy. I have the best tech crew. I have the best of everything. So the sound we have on stage is... You know how the great vinyl record mixes the depth of tonality on a great vinyl record? How we love that through a good quality set of headphones or a big quality speakers in your room? Yep. That's how we sound on stage. The bass, drums, and guitar and vocals are just like the best vinyl record, and Frank delivers that out front. So we really put our balls into it. We make sure that we deliver the best sound on planet Earth. And I'm going to tell you, my Gibson Birdland tone today, I've always had the greatest guitar tone in the history of the world, and it's never been bad. I'm always dicking around with these amps and these guitars, and we just love the music. And again, when you chop as much wood and shoot as many guns and hunt as many deer and spend as much time in tree stands and swamps as I do, you can't wait to grab that Gibson Birdland and plug it into an amp and just blow your brains out. So I'm still lucky that I escaped the music without everybody else made the horrible mistake of trying to get away from the music, because it's hard to get away from, Izzy.
Oh, I know.
It's going through your fucking skull.
I know.
And so they get drunk and stoned trying to escape it. They didn't escape it. It ruined them. And so my escape is archery. My escape is bird hunting and duck hunting with my dogs. My escape is squeezing Mrs. Nugent until she says uncle. Actually, she says Uncle Ted. So I have the escape of healing through nature. The healing powers of nature is the highest of highs, and it so cleanses you that when I come back in every day, Izzy, when I come back in after nature has healed me, I do ranch and I plant crops. I got tractors and I plow the driveway. I wrench my Broncos and I break stuff and I fix stuff. And I'm a mechanic and I do some plumbing and some carpentry and I dig my own trenches. I gut my own deer. I butcher my own deer. I'm a hands-on Natty Bumpo guy. I'm Jeremiah Johnson and Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett. And then I get my guitar and I'm Chuck Berry with a boner.
I fucking love it. Before you go, is there any way to describe, you said you just picked up another 65 Birdland. Is there any way to describe to people that don't get it, that smell of a great vintage Gibson guitar?
Boy, if anybody can, I can, and I'm really good with words. It's not like whenever Ted Nugent is done speaking, nobody's ever said, gee, I wonder what he meant. Ambiguous was amputated from my scrotum at the age of 3. Anyhow, I struggle to find adequate vocabulary to begin to describe. And I think the best word, and I use it often, is samurai.
Yep.
If you study Bruce Lee in his martial arts quest and his physical perfection quest, that's samurai. And let me restate, an archer doesn't shoot arrows. I mean, some archers do. But the ultimate archery experience isn't shooting an arrow. You are the path of your arrow. And you alone, hand-eye coordination, spirit control, you and you alone are in charge of the path of your arrow/life. Higher level of awareness will benefit you and assist you in quality of life every day. So even though I just explained that in a totally unambiguous way, the scent, the touch, the fiber, the essence, the limitless vocalizations that are sitting there in that Gibson Birdland before you even fucking touch it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I pick it up, and here's another term that will kind of summarize it because I can't find other words, and it's out of body. When I pick up that fucking guitar and I strap it on, it's a big guitar. It's large, but it's lightweight because it's a very porous North American spruce, hand-carved arch top by the master woodsman clothiers. It, before the amp is even warmed up, just touching any note or chord and strumming it with my right hand. I have a right hand that has a life of its own, and it's married to my left hand, and it picks up electronic direction from my skull. Before the amp is even on, it's quiet in the room. I have a nice hard wood floor and hard walls. I built my house. We're building a new house just for the sonics, just for the audio perfection. And a non-amplified Gibson Birdland, it sings. Mm-hmm. It makes you play. Stranglehold could not have been created on any other instrument, and all those guys that play the lick, God bless them, but it'll never sound like me on a Birdland because of the way the right hand rests on that floating bridge and the way the little neck and the frets and the roll of the hand-carved arch spruce top and those unbelievable Gibson PAF humbucking pickups. Oh my God, it's sex, man. It's like it's an eargasm every damn time, and it makes you play stuff. It makes you play licks. The guitar makes you play a certain way. When I pick up a Strat or my Les Paul or my incredible PRSs, Paul Reed Smith guitars are mystical, the old Les Pauls I have, I play different. I play different than when I play a Birdland. You know, maybe to the casual listener, by the way, I don't like casual listeners. That's why they make country music for casual listeners.
Hey, I love country, Ted.
I think my music and the best music in the world is made for hardcore listeners that turn it up and that don't let people talk during the song. You know what I mean?
Right.
I listen to music. If we're not going to listen, I'm not going to play it.
Right.
I make music to listen and absorb and to penetrate your skeleton. And the Gibson Birdland, I'm telling you, it has a voice. And based on these different amplification settings that I'm always experimenting with, I'm going places that God looks down and goes, I didn't know that was part of my creation. Let me check my manual here and see if that's authorized. I make noises that are just... My dogs, I have 3 beautiful dogs. I have Coco, my German Shepherd. She's a drug-sniffing canine police dog.
Oh, wow. Of course.
And Sadie is my little world-class duck-hunting lab, and Happy's a black-mouthed cat, a hula lab, that kills things on command. And when I play certain licks, they'll be laying on the living room floor, and they'll lift their head, and you know how a dog cocks their head to the side when they're interested in something?
Oh, yeah.
And their ears pick up and tune in like a radar?
Yep.
My dogs are constantly doing that, and I don't play at a volume that would hurt them.
Right.
But I'm finding notes and frequencies, and I pinch overtones and a feedback note at a really low volume. A Birdland will start to feed back and go... And I go, fuck! And I get a boner!
Of
and
course.
The dogs, their ears twitch, and they go, I like that shit, Dad. Keep that going.
Ladies and gentlemen, all that for asking what a vintage guitar smells like. I fucking love it. Ted, dude, I really appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much. When you come through L.A., please come by. Let's do it in studio and bring that Birdland. Plug in through the fucking...
Let's do it. I would love to. And Izzy, I love you because you bring up things that we love. We talk about things that so many of us love to talk about, and you allow me to dig deep into the subject matter that so many people love about the music and freedom and America and ballistic coefficients. And machine guns testing body armor. When was the last time you had an interview that included machine gun testing body armor? I'm
Never.
a fun guy to hang with, aren't I?
I fucking love you, Uncle Ted.
So, Izzy, I love you back, man. Thanks for giving a shit. Thanks for caring. Thanks for digging deep. Thanks for your work ethic. Thanks for your stream of consciousness, uncharted territory, adventure in dialogue. Thank you for including the old guitar player from Detroit. I love people like you, and I love you, and I love America, and I love shit kickers, and I love music, and I hope to see everybody out there. And thanks, everybody, for coming on my Facebook and just being the ultimate hell-raising, cocky shit kicker, positive energy and spirit that they are every day. And today, Izzy, March 5th, 1902, the great Fred Bear was born. And today in Grayling, Michigan, is Fred Bear's birthday celebration. And I'm stepping outside right now, and in Grayling, Michigan, at the stroke of noon, there will be a 21-arrow salute. Actually, there will be over 200 archers that will aim for the sky with their bows and arrows, and I will join them for the great man Fred Bear, that if you never met Fred Bear, genuinely and intensely listen to the song Fred Bear, and you will know him. and how much I love him and miss him.
And I tell you what, Ted, in just an hour and 20 minutes, I'm not even going back to bed. I'm going to fire up Fredbear and fucking play it at 10 o'clock California time, which is noon Michigan time. Wait, you guys are Central? Wait. Or is that...
You do it. Go ahead and do it at 9 a.m. I think you might have missed
9 a.m.
it. No matter what, you listen to the Fredbear song because March 5th, 1902, the great man was born, and he influenced so many people to care more about the environment and wildlife and to be a hands-on participation in this perfect conservation, hunting, fishing, trapping reverence for God's renewable wildlife resources. Fredbear in the wind, he's still alive, motherfucker.
There it is. Uncle fucking Ted. What more can you say? We're going to close with the acoustic version of Fredbear. Why not? Make sure you guys hit up all that social media at Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board. And, of course, the show page is another effing podcast. And, yeah, you guys know it all. Buy the T-shirts. Donate. IzzyPresley at yahoo.com if you want to support what I do. If you love what I do, yada, yada, yada. Please like, share, subscribe, iTunes. Subscribe on, what are we listening to it now? On Spreaker. There we go. It has been another fucking podcast. And get out and see Uncle Ted this summer. There he is. There he is. And God bless Fredbear.
Just like it happened so many